Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. And Joyce, it happened. We have a new drama series, perhaps frontrunner.
Perhaps.
I mean, for us, it is not for the odds.
No,
Not yet.
no. Yeah.
Shōgun, Joyce. It moved.
Shogun caused some
Expected it.
drama
We knew this would happen. We talked about it many times over the last several weeks.
many times. So I guess our episode last week had like a 1 day shelf life before
Yes.
it officially happened Thursday afternoon last week.
With a
And
fantastic
the
press
press
release.
release was amazing. Just words that mean nothing.
I'm going to pull it up, actually.
I tweeted it, so I was like, because this is just words.
Let me
Words.
see.
Oh, here I have it. So
Okay.
the main head. FX, Hulu, and the James Clavell estate are working to create more seasons of the critically acclaimed global hit Shogun. And then the deck. The story and characters are intended to continue the saga that will likely yield 2 additional seasons of the drama series. A lot of words that promise nothing.
A lot of words that promise nothing. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
But
Could use an edit here.
then later, it was I immediately flagged. I was like, wait, no comments from anybody involved in the show. It's just
Yeah.
like FX is like, hey, we're doing this, and it's going to
Yeah.
be a drama series, and this and that. But then later on Twitter, Justin Marks, who is obviously the co-creator,
He had a very long thread.
I'm going to read some of it, Joyce, just so people, in case they missed it. It's a couple of years ago, I was shooting Shogun up in Vancouver, and Rachel, which is his wife and co-creator, Rachel Kondo. I went to dinner with FX's Gina Balion and Michaela Clavel, our fellow EP. We had been joking about a single scene that set an idea we couldn't get out of our heads. And after that second glass of wine, we decided to jokingly pitch it. And Gina and Michaela started doing that lean forward, a look that any writer knows and loves.
What a meme.
The meme. It's like the Challengers meme.
Yeah.
A look that says, so then what happens? And we were getting a little startled because suddenly it hit us. Could this story keep going? So we kept going. When production wrapped, we sat on our porch in Maui, teasing out this idea as it grew larger and larger. Humble brag much? Richer with history. This essential thematic question that felt frankly unfinished until we could reach the end. By December, we had an outline. And to be honest, we never thought it would become real. The show is hard and big, and it took a lot of work to get where we are, and the book was done. But to be even more honest, we never dreamed season one would come together like it did. So here we are. Rachel and I get on a plane for Japan tomorrow. This was written last week. To begin the journey, we want to see if this really is what we think it is. We reunite with the amazing writers of season one in July. As someone said, tomorrow's tomorrow, but today we'll learn how to swim. So it's back.
Much of that is true.
I mean, it's hard to say what is truth, Joyce.
Wow, that's so philosophical of you.
It definitely feels like something that Toranaga would say.
Yeah.
Because they spent a lot of effort and energy in the interviews in the early stages of the interviews being like, absolutely not. But then that softened, obviously, as the season went along.
Yeah.
And like we said, it's very possible they were easily very easy to think of this just continuing in some fashion.
Yeah, and like I think it's completely normal to bandy these ideas about while you're making a show, like, like what if this happens,
Correct.
and not actually talk about it seriously, but I think it's easy when this development happens to couch it as a serious discussion.
Sure. So now it happened, and this is what we were talking about. People are just it feels like everyone who covers this stuff, even poorly covers this stuff, has been waiting for Shogun to move to drama series just to say we have a drama contender that's up front that people like.
And you know what? Now, once again, we're gonna have 3 shows dominate their respective genres, and it's gonna be boring again. And you know what? You guys asked for this, so this is all your fault.
I gotta say,
Can't
it's funny.
complain about how boring the Emmys are going to be in September, because this is what you guys wanted. I was over here being like, we don't need anyone infiltrating drama because it's more fun.
Here's what I was wondering: will people be saying it's boring in September because everyone loves Shogun, and people are still very excited about Baby Reindeer, and we'll talk about this when we do our picks. I actually have been surprised so far. I feel like people are still slowly coming around. Do you feel like even though online, like it's incredibly popular and obviously is like a smash hit for Netflix, that people are still reticent to be like, oh, Baby Reindeer is just going to sweep this? I feel like it'll just dominate the limited series category now, like Beef did. But I still see people like kind of thinking maybe it won't, which we'll talk about. But anyway, I do think that people love Shogun, so maybe they won't be like, it's not boring. We want this show to win.
No, but I think it's just like, people love Succession and The Bear, right?
Right.
And then,
Right.
Beef became fraught. But people do like Beef too. So I don't think it's like, those shows winning and dominating individually, I don't think people have an issue with. It's just them colluding to
Sure.
dominate together that just renders the whole uh part, like the ceremony, just kind of mundane. It's like this is what we all expected. So l- like the fun of drama was that it was so weak and we had no idea what was winning. It's like, was it just going to default to the crown? Or, was there going to be, we were like waiting, we were also waiting for a spring breakout
And
drama.
nothing broke out.
Nothing real, like Fallout,
Fallout.
sure,
Fallout.
sort of, but like not really.
I think it did. I know. I think
And
it
that,
did.
yeah, but like not enough to be like it's definitely winning drama series.
No. Just
And
me thought that.
so it's just like it was more fun that way, and like we would have something to talk about in phase two. And now this is just like a lot of Oscar seasons for me, where phase one is my fave, and then once nominations hit, phase two, like we know what will win like 95% of these categories, and there's nothing to talk about in
Phase
most of
two,
these
we're going to
races.
be doing a lot of talking about Bear season 3. I feel like you and I and other shows.
It would just be like Io versus Gene. Like there's some like up in the air stuff, and it'll also depend on like how many like episodes get in for like writing and directing. So there is like
Mhm.
one wrinkle here for like Shogun, because they submitted a lot in writing and directing, which we'll
We
get to.
we could talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, so like they, it won't be like a full sweep, or like it might not be a full sweep because of that. So there, or and like maybe Hacks could steal some wins from the Bear, like who knows. But it's like
We
we
can only hope.
basically know what all we have front runners in all three genres
It's true.
right now.
So we're gonna go. So here's what we're gonna do, Joyce. Just for if you're watching along or listening, we're gonna go through our picks for drama and limited series now because we have like fresh picks. Then we're gonna do the guest categories because now we can predict those too.
And you know what? I have like two shows and the comedy
Same.
ones.
And then we could do emails, which we have a lot of emails
Wait, how dare you forget about Hacks?
and hacks. I forgot about hacks, which we have to recap because this is the big into the penultimate episode. A lot of stuff happens. That was fantastic. And
And
Joyce, I
we
talked
can
to
talk
your
about JSC.
love Jason Cameron. I also talked to your friend Paul W. Downs this week.
Yeah, you can talk about that.
Just the best. Got to get him an Emmy nomination, Joyce, for acting. Manifesting. So drama series, Joyce. Shogun somehow second in the odds. Crown still in first. But you know me, I got it right at the top. Just shot right to the top. 100-1. I got it. I was just
Oh, I
waiting
got
for
it
it to land.
101 too. So I don't even know what it's at now.
I don't even know whatever. But I have Shogun, I have Fallout, The Crown, Morning Show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Gilded Age, Slow Horses, and Loki, and I dropped The Curse. I was between Loki and The Curse, and I just was like, I don't know. I feel like the crafts will help Loki. I don't know. I mean, I feel like one of those would get in. I just went Loki instead of the curse. I feel like the curse is more polarizing, I guess I would say. So maybe that helps it get in, but maybe it doesn't.
I have Shogun, The Crown, Morning Show, Slow Horses, Fallout, Gilded Age, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and The Curse. So I just dropped Ahsoka.
Sure. 7 of these feel dead on. And then I feel like it's a coin flip for the last spot.
Um, yeah, because there's like, also I think like Three Body Problem is still pretty high, right?
Three Body Problem is actually ahead of Loki in the odds. It's if
Sure.
Fallout's moved up into 8th. Three Body Problem is 9th, and
Three
Loki.
Body Problem, also vaguely quote renew, just like Shogun, for additional episodes.
Yeah, to finish the show.
Yeah,
They're
they
like, make
finished.
another one just to wrap this up.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing else on the truly, no offense to any of these shows, some of which I really like. Not a single one of these I feel like is seriously in contention and among the dramas. I think it's just 10. Even though I don't think Three Body Problem and a New Look are really, or the New Look, excuse me, are really.
The new look is quite high, and I don't know. I guess it's because it was one of the earlier releases because it dropped in February.
I'll give you 2 shows that I'm biased towards because I've been doing interviews for them, Joyce, that I would love to see in contention but aren't. The Girls on the Bus, which should get a second season, is fantastic.
Your fave.
And Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which I just absolutely loved. Fantastic show.
Are you going to talk about Kurt Russell again?
No, but you can watch, anybody can watch that. He was just a man. Kurt Russell rules. The show was great. It's definitely the best Godzilla thing since like Kong Skull Island. So, but neither one of them I don't think will get in. I guess Monarch, if in a different, I think if Monarch was more widely seen, you could argue it would be like that Ahsoka Loki type
I
show
think
that
if
is a
Monarch were on
fringe
like
contender. Yeah, I think it needed that, but it's not as widely seen, even though it was very popular for Apple. But otherwise, I don't think any of these shows are getting in. So I don't know. I have Loki. Curse could easily get in, sure.
um yeah, and then Shogun winning.
Not even a question in my mind. I don't know. I mean,
This will make the people who did not want the crown to win very happy.
I think there's a world where I could say like, I mean, we all know this. The Crown was good in the last season, not compared to the fifth season, which was not good.
I think it was a slight improvement on the fifth season, but it's still obviously far from its halcyon days.
Yes, and I think that's why it's not going to win. And I have it like behind Fallout too, because I just think there's more enthusiasm for Fallout, and Shogun obviously will win. But
What about like, I mean, I have the Gilded Age here, but what if that's like another Yellowstone thing, like gets the SAG nomination but doesn't actually make it in because like the demos are so different?
so I thought that, and I also thought like I think I would say Mr. and Mrs. Smith would be another vulnerable show, but I'm
Yeah,
also
my
like,
my bottom three, I'm just like,
but I also don't think there's anything close to having any kind of consensus towards the bottom or enthusiasm, really. Like I think the curse I think could get in because I think it's polarizing, but that helps in the nomination because I think a lot the people who love it, right? And like the people who don't like it probably hate it. Loki is probably just like a filler nom, right? So it's not going to have a lot of enthusiasm. People just like, oh yeah, Loki, sure. So I could see that. And like nothing else feels like it would even pop. I honestly, there's no reason. Like the Gilded Age and all these shows at the bottom, I'm just like, there's nothing really to push them out.
yeah, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they were knocked out, or at least one of them. Not maybe not, it'll be harder to knock all three of them out. My bottom three are Gilded Age, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and The Curse.
And you would put what in if one of those missed?
I don't know, like maybe Ahsoka, just because like
Ahsoka
seen
instead of
them do
Loki.
Star Wars.
Right.
So I don't know.
For actress choice, this was pretty easy for me.
Well, you already had dropped Reese.
So I dropped Reese for Carrie Preston, who lasted about 40 hours in my production, and then I put Anna Sawai in and put her right in first. I have her 100-1 odds in first. She's fourth in the odds somehow still. Jennifer Aniston's still winning. But I would say Anna Sawai will probably win here. And I have her in first. And then I have Emma Stone, Jennifer Aniston, Maya Erskine, Imelda Staunton, and Carrie Coon. I think Maya's probably vulnerable, but I don't think Reese. I'm just like, I think Jen over Reese feels right. So
I have Anna, Jen, Imelda, Reese, Maya, and Emma. So I really only feel good about Anna and Jen.
okay. So you don't have Carrie at all. You dropped Carrie. Or you never had Carrie Coon.
I dropped her.
Okay. And you kept Reese.
Yes. Because I'd rather go with someone who has been nominated for this performance before.
Okay. That makes sense. And you went
And
Maya
this
over.
is the best chance for her and Jen to actually get it in the same year, which they've
Right.
never done before.
And you went Maya over Carrie because of the show, I guess.
Yeah, and I think it's like, it's an actual two-hander. And whereas I feel like Gilded Age is so ensemble and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if anyone actually talks, like singles out a single performer, I feel like it might have a better chance in supporting to get
Sure.
acting
Mm-hmm.
nominations. Or it could just be, like a drama series nominee without acting
Wow.
nominations.
I mean, I've been getting in some supporting categories. I have Carrie in sixth and like hanging on. And I could see going to Reese, but I'm gonna stick with this six. I don't know. I just feel like again, the shows don't like you've said, the shows don't necessarily matter. But not that Reese is bad on the show, but I think it's so clearly like Jen's show. No matter how many ways they kind of try to make them both balanced, it doesn't really balance.
I think like it matters like for them to watch it, and the actors obviously do watch the morning show, and I think they have, based on how the first two seasons have panned out for them, for each of them here in this category, like I think they are like paying attention, because I think season 2 was better for Reese's character than season 1,
Hmm.
because the way like she was, I mean, the way the character was written in season 1, like she was just miscast, and they really retconned some stuff in season 2 for her. I think season 2 is her best season of the 3.
I agree.
So I think that makes sense why they went with her instead of Jen, who had that disastrous Italy episode with like Steve Carell in season 2, you know? So, and then season 1 was like very much about like Jen and like her thing with Steve. So I think like their nominations make sense. And obviously the show is clearly has not been strong enough to carry both of them in the same year.
Right.
But I think like because they've each made it in individually and it shows like they are paying attention to the seasons, like they can make it in this year. And I think like they each do have their individual storylines this year. It's so hilarious that they rarely interact on the show.
They interact so infrequently that at the end of the season, when they are together on screen, I was like studying that like it was the Zapruder film, and I was just like, "Are they
Yeah,
actually
is this
together?"
like another Good Wife situation?
I
Like,
don't
are
think
they
it is,
actually in the same physical space?
but it was like I thought about it a lot. Definitely rewatched
Yeah,
it.
it's so funny how the show has morphed throughout the 3 seasons because it's no longer about a morning show. It's just like these random storylines and they each have their own, you know?
It's
So,
Succession, diet Succession, and I love it for it.
yeah. I also consider dropping Emma, um, but I kept her there. Like if this, if drama were stronger, I would not have Emma.
That makes sense. I kept her in though. For actor Joyce, well, I had to make room for my guys, so I put Hiroyuki Sanada in right at the top, and I also added Cosmo Jarvis, and then I kept Gary Oldman, Donald Glover, Walton Goggins, and Dominic West. I had a lot of room here because I had Tom Hiddleston to drop and Idris Elba for Hijack, who I was holding on to. So it was very flexible for me, and I just feel like this is an easy 6, even though the odds have uh, Colin Farrell in 5th and Tom Hiddleston, Cosmo in 6th, Tom Hiddleston in 7th, and Walton Goggins in 8th.
My guy, Walton.
Just like Walton's definitely, if you're a legend, like he's getting in. Like, come on.
I feel like I talked to him last week and it was great. And I feel like if you had talked to him, you would immediately put him in first.
I mean, he's the most charming actor.
He's
Everybody should watch
the
that.
greatest.
He's great. I mean,
He and
like,
I planned out the next 3 years of his career because I told him he needs to make all of Cooper Howard's films. So we're gonna
fantastic.
start with A Man and His Dog.
Uh, Guy's getting in. Like, I mean, just I have no doubt he's getting in. It's like the breakout character on the show, and people love the actor. So why wouldn't he get in?
I have the same 6. So I obviously had to jettison my Justified reunion and dump Timothy Oliphant.
Sure.
But I did talk to Walton about Justified,
Okay,
so
good.
I got my
That's fair.
there.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, so I kept Boyd, dropped Raylan, and then who was my other person I had? I don't even know.
I thought, did you have Colin?
I dropped Colin long ago.
Did you have you didn't have Idris? Did you have
Did I have Morgan? Was it Morgan I dropped? Maybe.
maybe? I don't know.
Sorry to Morgan, I don't remember.
Sorry to that man. Colin Farrell, I don't think is getting in personally. No offense to Colin Farrell, but I think
I
he's
mean,
high.
I dropped him before Sugar premieres.
Yeah, I think he's higher. I think he's high in the odds because his name is Colin Farrell. But I think the
Yeah, it
response
was
to
like
the
people
show,
putting him in February when no
yeah,
one knew anything about the
I
show.
think the response to the show is indicative of him not getting in. And I would say this is a strong 6. This has now become like a really fun category. If it's this 6.
I don't know if it's like I think like this 6 is like good, but it's
Yeah.
like after it is like what is there?
Not
You
a
know.
lot. I mean, I would put Tom Hiddleston in. I really love him, obviously.
I love
Right.
Hiddles. And
And I
he
think
would
Nathan
obviously
Fielder,
submit the finale.
right. And I think
So
Nathan Fielder's incredibly interesting on The Curse, and it's a miserable character who I want to run away from screaming. So I think he does a really good job. I don't think it'll get in, but
I don't really see a lot of actors like responding well to the curse.
well, it definitely isn't kind to actors. But I think it kind of reminds me. I wonder if the response to The Curse on a lower scale will be like, remember when we talked about this a couple years ago with White Lotus, where it's like, all the white people are like, look at these idiot white guys, like rich
Yeah,
white
but the
people.
White Lotus is fun to watch. I think that's the difference.
Yeah, the curse is a
The
little
Curse
too
is
uncomfortable.
way more, it's longer and it's so esoteric.
But I do think that like actors watching it won't realize they're being made fun of. They'll be like, look at that asshole. Like that's
No,
not
but
like
I wonder
me.
if it's more like May, December when they like
Maybe,
the actors just flat out rejected it because they
maybe.
couldn't look in the mirror.
I have Hiroyuki winning here, and I actually think he's got a better shot winning here than he did in limited series now.
Oh, I mean, I didn't have him winning limited
I
once
know.
Baby Reindeer popped. So
So I think he could win this.
I have him in first.
Me too.
So
Uh, and I actually would say I have Gary Oldman and Donald Glover in second and third, but I would say Walton is a runner up here. I just think he's going to get in and be like, if he gets in, I think he's so charming. Like, I love that. Love the vibes.
you love a campaign. You
Love a
know
campaign.
he had a production break from the White Lotus, so he came over to the States for 2 weeks to do Fallout press. So he was everywhere.
I will say this.
And
I
now
don't
he's
think he's
back
going to win.
in now he's back in Thailand.
I don't think he's going to win, but when the White Lotus is up,
We
he's going to
talked
win.
about this
Yeah,
weeks ago.
he's going to win. I'm win for the White Lotus. For supporting actors, Joyce. So I added multiple Shogun actresses here as well. So I have Elizabeth Debicki still winning. I put Mocha Hoshi from Shogun in, Leslie Manville from The Crown, Nikaido for Shogun, Christine Baranski, Greta Lee, Kristen Scott Thomas, and Holland Taylor. So I think I dropped Nicole Bahari and Cynthia Nixon to make this work.
I think I just have Karen instead of Greta.
Okay. I was gonna put Karen in too. Isn't that funny? I was actually gonna drop Kristen Scott Thomas and put Karen in too. So I'd have triple morning show.
Who did I don't remember who I dropped. Oh my gosh. Um I I I think I'm gonna stick with Karen because she's an OG cast member.
Maybe I'll do this now because I was actually gonna do this anyway. I'm gonna drop Kristen Scott Thomas and put Karen in. So I have 3 morning shows. So what I just said was wrong. So I have Karen Pittman, Holland Taylor, and Greta Lee from the morning show. I still have Christine Baranski from Gilded Age,
I have Christine. So
Fumi and Mocha from Shogun, and Leslie and Elizabeth from The Crown.
I think Elizabeth can still win this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I do think it's a little more competitive. But and
I
like
mean
we
like a
said,
little, but like is it though?
it's only is it though? Because I mean, Mocha Hoshi is like I think a fan favorite and really good, but I
Like
don't
they'll
think
be great nominees.
yeah, I don't think she's gonna win. And then for supporting actor choice, uh, I had to add our boy Tatenobu Asano, and then now because I added Takehiro Hira. So I dropped 2 men here, and I had to drop Kei Kwan and Jack Loudon. And so my picks are Billy Crudup still in first, Tatenobu Asano, John Hamm, Jonathan Pryce, Nathan Lane, Khalid Abdallah, Salim Daw, and Takehiro Hira.
Um I think I just have Mark Duplass instead of Salim.
Okay.
Yeah. I have Billy, Tadanobu, Takahiro, Jonathan, Khalid, Nathan, John, and Mark.
Okay.
Although, you know who's not in here? Takuma Nishioka. I would put him in.
So I would put him in 2. Oh, he's there actually now.
Oh, is he? He wasn't
Yeah.
he wasn't there this morning.
Oh, well, he's now.
Wow.
Oh, he's going in.
Okay, so
Salim, sorry to that man.
I'm gonna drop Mark. Sorry to Mark.
Okay. So now we have the same 8. And I still have Billy winning, though I think Tatenobu could win.
Uh I I similar to like how I felt in limited, I don't know like how strong or like if Shogun will overperform in acting, you
Yeah,
know?
I know you've been like kind of not soft on it, but like just unsure how they'll respond to it. But I do think that like the wide embrace of the show and its characters will help it, even though the acting is not necessarily like, you know, Billy Crudup hamming it up.
Yeah, I think it's like I think it's obviously watched and liked and respected, but I'm also just like is this something they're gonna go ham over in terms of wins too, you know?
I personally think yes, but I mean, I think it's gonna
Like,
win.
I think it's gonna win multiple Emmys, obviously. I already have it winning the top three.
So I think
So
I do think the reason I wouldn't put it in the supporting categories is out in front is a couple fold. I think like the Billy and Elizabeth performances are like massive big performances. And they're also not really competing with anybody seriously on their own shows. No disrespect to like the other nominees potentially from The Crown and The Morning Show. And I think Shogun, you would have a little more, especially in the supporting actor. I think you could have a lot more a split there between those three potential nominees. Whereas Billy and John Hamm, I don't think John Hamm is going to
no,
cannibalize.
John is not gonna affect him at all. Like, John might
So,
not even get in.
right.
So
So I'm like, you know, like Tatanobu is obviously fantastic. He's probably the best character on the show, right? Like,
mhm.
and Tokuma has the huge, like, dramatic moment,
Yes.
but like, I don't know if that's enough to have him to win, but I think people would be really fans of that. And then Takehiro, I don't think would have gotten in limited based on like
No,
the,
I didn't have him in limited.
but I think he is really great and like is like a great formidable like not necessarily villain, but like kind of
I'm just
villain.
like, yeah, like I think they're all fantastic on the show. I'm just like, is there a ceiling for its nominations?
Right.
You
I don't know,
know?
but I got them all in. So
So, and then like it like let's say, I mean, I obviously have three of them in here right now, but then it's like, can any of them will any of them actually win,
I don't know.
over someone who actually has won before? Um, and is serving the type of acting that they do like.
Yeah. I'm I'm guessing no, but and then we got to do
We have to do limited before
limited.
we go
Hold
into
on.
guess.
Where am I? Okay. We're gonna get to guess. We'll do limited first. So I did an easy thing. I just put Ripley in. I dropped Shogun was
You
gone.
this was your dream.
Yeah, I wanted Ripley in. I put it back in. So I'm going Ripley. And the other four remain the same. I have Baby Reindeer in first. Somehow third in the odds, Fargo and Lessons in Chemistry ahead of it. I have Baby Reindeer, Lessons in Chemistry, True Detective, Fargo, and Ripley.
I was like, Chris is just gonna slot Ripley right back in there, like
Oh, couldn't wait.
not a single thought.
Could not wait.
I put in Hunks in the Air.
Nice. Apple will be so thrilled to hear
I
this.
know, I have two apples in here. They'll be so
Apple would
happy.
be thrilled to hear this.
Uh,
Sure. You know,
yeah, I like, I wouldn't be shocked by Ripley or actually like any other Netflix show, like Griselda, although like we cannot see an early drop, you know?
I definitely think this. I just went with like the most obvious Netflix one to me based on like what they're promoting. But I think any like you're right, any number of these shows could get in. I would not be surprised if it's something like All the Way We Cannot See, honestly. But I guess we'll see. But it definitely the other categories I think were more widely affected. Obviously, with Shogun missing, kind of a lot more room then.
Yeah. And then I mean, I had never had hunks before,
No,
but I just did it because I feel like it's just it's a very agreeable watch. Like, I don't think it's on the level of Band of Brothers or The Pacific, but it's not like hot garbage, right? And I don't think anyone who has seen it like hates it,
I,
you know.
it's just hard for me again. Like with all these shows, it's like how many people have actually watched it, right? Like I mean, like, and are people gonna
I'm just like
make it a
relying on like
priority?
the old guard.
Right. Are they going to make it a priority to watch? Like Band of Brothers and The Pacific were like the only game in town. Everybody watched those shows.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that helps hunks is that it was early too.
Yeah,
It
that's
premiered in
true.
January.
January. So,
So
for actress Joyce, I ended up NSOI now gone. So Jodie Foster I have in first for True Detective. Hopefully congratulations to Jodie Foster on her future Emmy win. I also have Brie Larson, Juno Temple, Sofia Vergara, Naomi Watts, and I put Nicole Kidman in for Expats.
wow. A
Yeah.
return acting
Yes.
nomination for her?
Yes. Amazon is really pushing that show.
They are.
I actually think Sorry Blue could get in also, and we'll talk about that in a second. But
Um, I just replaced Anna with SAG nominee Uzo Aduba.
excellent.
Netflix.
Hey, makes sense.
It reminds me of Octavia Spencer, Self-Made.
Mm-hmm. Great. Love it. Neither one of us went to Kate Winslet.
No,
She's still high in the odds, but maybe you should update those.
because people don't update. Did
Yeah.
you see that viral tweet the other day of like someone bitching about like how like no one makes HBO limited series anymore, and they attached like 4 HBO limited series, and one of them was Mayor of Easttown, and it's like Kate Winslet was literally just in an HBO limited series 2 months ago.
There's also another, there's many HBO limited series this year.
Yeah, there's one on right now on Sundays.
It's really good. For actor Joyce, I had to drop obviously
Too.
Hero and Cosmo. So I have Richard Gadd, Andrew Scott, Tom Hollander, John Hamm, and then I filled out the bottom of this with SAG nominee David Oyelowo for Lawman Bass Reeves. So I kind of did your same thinking for Uzo Aduba, but for here. And then kind of like a wing and a prayer, Hope Diction, Washande for The Sympathizer. Even though the
Oh,
show was,
I still have Hawaiian here. I never
I
got.
don't, I really don't think it, I would love, I interviewed him too, so I'm biased, obviously, but man, I would love for him to get in. He's so good, but I don't know if he's
I
gonna.
also have him at 100 to 1, so I'm like, I don't want to drop him
Okay.
just yet.
So those I had dropped him, so I put him back in. So I have David Oyelowo and Washande to replace the Shogun guys.
I just put back in John Hamm
Okay.
and Tony Shalhoub.
Wow, nice. I was gonna go with him, and while I know like Daniel Radcliffe got in for a movie, I'm just like, I'm gonna go movie bias across. I'm just gonna blank, be like, no movies here.
No
So
movies.
no
Tony Shalhoub
movies.
also a SAG nominee, just like David
I
Oyelowo.
know, but Daniel Oyelowo is in a series. That was my thinking, and he's doing promo for it, so I don't see Tony Shalhoub doing as much.
Listen, people love Monk.
I know, but I think maybe they're. What if they're off Tony Shalhoub? I predicted that snub.
That's for Maisel.
I know, but maybe there's off them altogether.
Yeah, but now it's Monk is back. He has more
Yeah,
Emmys for Monk than for Maisel.
sure.
Um, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's campaigning or not, and
Okay.
like I don't think he cares. It's
Well,
just
I'll tell you,
like,
David Oyelowo is campaigning, and he is beloved, and maybe
well,
people watch
he's
Lawman
someone who
Bass
actually
Reeves.
does need to campaign. Tony Shalhoub does not need to
Okay,
campaign.
okay. And then for
And also,
supporting,
it doesn't matter because, like, what if like he gets in and David doesn't? So then,
sure,
you're back
sure.
at 0. Um, it, yeah, I feel like this. Um, I think a lot of people just were like, "This is great for Matt Bomer." I didn't put him in them.
Same. People think we don't like that show. I'm like, I don't think Showtime is being seen.
Yeah, like it's nothing against the show. It could be like any show. I need it to pop more, and it tanked at the guilds. I think
Yeah,
people, if you're gonna follow the Emmys, you should pay attention to the guilds.
I think that's a good
That's
advice.
my one of my top advice
Yeah,
for people.
yeah. For supporting actress choice, so I had to drop two, I believe, right? I had two spots for the two Shogun ladies. So I have Jessica Gunning for Baby Reindeer, Nava Mao for Baby Reindeer, Aja Naomi King for Lessons in Chemistry, Callie Reese for True Detective. I have Jennifer Jason Leigh in for Fargo, and then I put in Sorry Blue for Expats, and then a wing and a prayer at the end. Chloe Guidry for Under the Bridge, Joyce. I'm trying to manifest it. I don't care. I'm like, it's a Hulu show. It is big acting. She's doing a big thing. It's a huge swing, and she's super memorable on it. And maybe she gets in.
I mean, I would love to see it because people feel like are acting like Lily Gladstone is just guaranteed a nomination here because she's Lily Gladstone. Like she's pretty high in the odds. And
She's
people were
incredibly high
like
in the odds.
predicting her before even the Oscars.
I so I put Saria Blue in because I think she's actually the breakout of expats more than Nicole, and I think if one of them gets in, I think it would be her. And she's also campaigning. But Chloe Guidry I put in just because I think she's fantastic, and she's definitely the best part of the. I think her and the kids are the best part of the show, and among the adults, I think Lily is very good. But like Archie Punjabi is better than her also. So I'm like, I don't think Lily Gladstone would get in just because she's Lily Gladstone at this point.
Yeah, but I
Um,
think that's why she's so high.
and of the teens, I think of the teen girls, while we've talked about this, like they're all really good. I think Chloe has like the most ferocious part.
Yeah.
And so that's why I put her in over the others.
Um, I just put back in a swan,
Which one?
Diane Lane.
Okay.
So I have Jessica, Callie, Aja, Nava, Fiona, Diane, and JJL. I put back JJL too.
Right. So you have Fiona
I
too.
dropped Sandra.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have Sandra, and I don't have Fiona anymore either. This is a fun cat. All of a sudden, this is fun. I'm sure Chloe Gidget will not get in, but I'm just gonna ride that one right into the ground as my Matthew Good for this year.
For the offer, which you brought up to PWD.
I did. Off mic, yes, off interview. Because we're talking about Jimmy producing the Fatty Arbuckle movie, which we'll talk about later. Um
So
anyway,
I think like with Shogun gone, Fargo could really stand to benefit in the acting categories from its absences, but I still don't know if it would just collect a whole ton even in its absence. You know, they could easily just go to other people and other shows.
I guess
So
as someone who has had Fargo in a lot of the acting categories, specifically supporting act. Well, I've been very finicky on like some of these, but I have remained steadfast on Sam Spruell and Joe Keery, and I still have them in here in supporting actor. So when I dropped Tatanobu, the only person I re-added in was Finn Bennett from True Detective, who I feel like would get in.
oh, I've always had Finn.
I know. So I have Downey, Lewis Pullman, John Hawkes, Joe Keery, Jonathan Bailey, Sam Spruell, and Finn Bennett.
I have RDJ, Lewis, Finn, John, Joe, Treat Williams, and I just added Sam to replace
I,
Tadanobu.
I think I would, if I drop anything by the end of my final picks, it would be Jonathan for Treat also as a posthumous nominee.
Yeah, you've had Jonathan for a while to make one of our loyal listeners happy.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean,
Uh,
you know, like Matt would make much more sense as your fellow travelers
yes,
pick since he did get in at SAG
but I
than
didn't get
Johnny.
yelled at about Matt. I get yelled at about
Yeah,
John.
people want Johnny to happen.
So,
So,
so those are our picks there, Joyce. Now we can do the guest categories. Are you excited?
not really.
Just being honest here.
I mean, you know, we're starting with comedy. I have two shows here, basically.
I have three represented, but mostly two of the three are widely represented. So my pick choice, here we go. I have Jamie Lee Curtis for The Bear. I have Olivia Colman for The Bear. I have Caitlin Olsen for Hacks. J. Smith Cameron for Hacks. Maya Rudolph for Saturday Night Live. And Jillian Jacobs for The Bear.
Um, I have all those except I also have Sarah Paulson,
Instead of Maya.
instead of Maya.
I kind of was like, Sarah Paulson's fine on it, but I actually have her. I think she's going to get nominated for Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I thought that matters and would not preclude her from getting nominated here. But I was just like, I don't know. Was she that memorable on the show? I feel like
They
Gillian.
don't care about these categories. We know this.
Okay. Well, that's why I think Maya will get in because they don't care about it because they're just like Maya Rudolph. Um,
I had her in there and then I just took her out, Maya, because um I'm just like is like her individual passion Maya's. Like we know like they're all over her now since 2020.
I think it's that, and I
Like
also
is it
think she's
that
gonna.
or is that like stronger than them being lazy and like their love for the bear too? Like we
I
know
think
they love the bear.
I think it's that. I think Maya is even more loved than the bear. And for us, interesting. I love that we both have. Is it Jillian or Gillian? Is it a hard G?
Gillian.
Gillian. I love that we both have her in because she's not as high in the odds, but I think she clearly would get in because she's so connected to Evan and Richie and like just really good. So
I mean, I basically just have people from Fishes and Forks.
right, that's why I put her in because of Forks. Uh, so not bad. So for comedy guest actor choice, well, you'll be surprised to know I have the same three shows represented. Why one outlier would be Ryan Gosling for Saturday Night Live, who I also think will get in. But I have John Bernthal, Gosling, Bob Odenkirk, Christopher McDonald for Hacks, Will Poulter for The Bear, and Robert Townsend also for The Bear.
I have Bernthal. Oh my God, I just clicked over. Hold on. Well, okay, here. I have Bernthal, Bob, Christopher McDonald, Will Poulter, Mulaney, and Robert Townsend. So I have
So,
5 bears and 1 hacks.
so I didn't put Mulaney in, similar to Sarah Paulson. I was just like, he has a very funny line, but in the episode, but I'm also like, I think Gosling will get it over him. I think Townsend is definitely getting in too, because I think he's just playing like an emotional, the heart and soul of the show, maybe.
No, I just think like it's just like a nice performance.
And he's sharing scenes with Dio, who's like amazing, obviously getting in. So
Yeah, I just didn't do SNL at all.
okay, I'm going back on SNL for those two.
I mean, it
Uh,
got guest nominations last year for Pedro and
if it
Quinton.
doesn't get Gosling in, that would be like a shocking upset to me because it's like the most widely noticed thing the show has done in years.
Yeah. And again, it's the same thing with like Maya is like that, individual passion stronger than their passion for all the bears
Right.
in the world. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I also thought about Tony Goldwyn for Hacks, but I didn't do it.
We talked about this. He's a little perfunctory in the character, not his performance. But
He would be a coattail nom.
and if they really like the show, I think he would get in.
Yeah, but it'll be if like my lineup comes to fruition, I think Christopher McDonald could win just with like all the bears split.
I think he absolutely could too, and he's amazing on this third season. He's so
Mhm.
good. Is he the heart and soul of the show? I don't know.
No.
For a drama and Joyce guest actress, so I got Claire Foy for The Crown, Michaela Cole for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Parker Posey for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Sarah Paulson for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Lindsay Duncan for The Morning Show, and Yuko Miyamoto for Shogun.
I have Claire, Sarah, Michaela, Marsha Gay Harden for the morning show, Sarah Horgan for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and Lindsay.
So you don't have Yuko.
No.
I'm thinking Shogun. Just they're gonna just like check boxes here.
I'm not even sure about all these Mr. and Mrs. Smiths, but
As someone who
like
loves the show, the reason I didn't put Sharon in is because she's like the least compelling. I mean, Parker Posey is so good on it. I actually think her and Wagner Moura, who I'll mention here next, are gonna get in. They're like the best. They're so good together, and like they're
I consider them as like a pair of Mr.
yeah.
and Mrs. Smiths who can get in.
So I have them both in, and Michaela I think would easily get in, if they're gonna go for the show.
Yeah, I think the show is obviously built for these guest categories.
And probably part of the reason why they moved it to drama. I got to be honest. Otherwise, it's pretty barren here. I just don't know who would get in. There's not a lot of other. Like you
Yeah,
mentioned
so like
Sharon and
Olivia
Marsha,
Colman is ineligible for the crown because
right?
she came in just under 5% of screen time in the finale. So they'll make it very easy for Claire Foy to win another one of these, I
Seems
guess.
likely that she would win. She's not in first in the odds yet. Sarah Paulson is, but that just feels like not right.
I love Sarah Paulson in Mr. and Mrs. Smith, and I much prefer that performance to her performance in The Bear.
Yeah, that was why I
But
put her in and kept her out.
I don't think she would win for this. I
No,
don't think she would win for either.
no.
So
And then for
she'll be
guest
another
actor,
Harry Walter double noms, but no wins.
yeah. And then for guest actor, I have Nestor Carbonell for Shogun, Michael Emerson for Fallout, John Turturro for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Paul Dano for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Kyle MacLachlan for Fallout, and Wagner Moura for Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I have John Turturro, Michael Emerson, Cobb McLaughlin, Jonathan Price for Slow Horses, Nestor, and A Scars from Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Nice. But he's barely in it, though. That would be such a ridiculous
Yeah, but then like I feel
combination.
like people who just watch the premiere and just see him
That would be
fly.
so ridiculous.
Excuse you, look at the past nominees and winners in these
Oh
categories.
my God. That would be so ridiculous. Wagner Moura is so good on
And I
this.
remind you that they nominated Don Cheadle for walking through a museum for 2 minutes.
I know. Oh my God. I'm not putting him in. I'm going to keep Wagner Moura. He's freaking fantastic on the show. It's a great year for Wagner Moura because he's awesome in Civil War also. Who do you have winning then? John Turturro?
I have him first, but like I'm just like I just put him in there.
I love Nestor on Shogun, so I put him in. I don't necessarily think he can win. I actually think Michael Emerson could win for Fallout.
I know. You know what? I'll put Michael in first.
I'll do that too. I love Michael
Yeah,
Emerson.
I love him. I love when he plays weirdos, but
Yeah,
this is a good
you got to go
weirdo.
with Ben from Lost.
Yeah. Now I feel bad because I don't have Carrie Preston.
Hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
um,
Joyce, so that's our picks there. Updated guests. We did everything there.
yeah, a lot of bears.
A lot of bears.
Hmm.
Do you want to do the submissions for Shogun before we get to hacks?
Oh, so Shogun, well, specifically in directing and
That's what I was
writing,
talking about. Yeah.
they over submitted.
Okay.
So Variety, our friends at Variety have their submissions. So for directing for a drama series, they submitted the pilot, Anjin. They submitted episode 3,
Okay.
episode 6, episode 7,
Hmm.
episode 8, and episode 9. So how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for directing. And then for writing, they did the pilot, episode 5, episode 8, and episode 9, and episode 10, the finale. So that's 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 and 5, which is a lot.
Too
They're
many.
not, it's like, we know like there's different strategies that shows and strategists employ. So you could just go full out and just like everyone submit, like all our eligible people can submit. Or you could, be very focused and streamlined and be like, just gonna concentrate on like one episode in directing and one episode in writing, or maybe 2 and submit those. So they submitted a lot here. It's like they wanted to invite everyone to the party here.
Seems like potentially not the greatest strategy then.
So I think it'll get multiple slots in both categories, but it might have trouble winning. So this could stop a big Shogun sweep.
Well, what would win?
So we know in directing that it's very hard to overcome a triple vote split. So I think if it gets 3 directing in, that might be hard. Like Succession is literally the only show that's ever done it.
So if it gets 3 directing in, and then there's like The Crown with the Stephen Daldry finale, which they're gonna
Yeah,
put
or
on,
like Jonathan Nolan with
and
Fallout.
Jonathan Nolan for Fallout. I could see Daldry or Nolan winning for Fallout or The
Yeah,
Crown.
I could see Nolan winning, especially if they're just like off the crown, that was
Yeah, I
fun.
mean I could see Daldry winning because it's his like first one since like the early seasons.
Yeah, he won for season 2.
Right.
Um, yeah, so like that can totally
Yeah.
happen. And
And that could be the 5, right? Or whatever. I mean, that could be most of the categories, just those 2 shows and 3 Shoguns.
yeah, and then writing, I think it has a better chance of winning writing if it has multiple nominations. But I could also just see that going to like slow horses, you know?
Interesting.
I think the thing with Shogun is like they have a lot of great episodes, and I think 9 is the consensus best episode of the season, Crimson Sky.
Yes.
But I also don't think it's talked about in the same way as like a Connor's Wedding, or as like any like Game of Thrones like Red Wedding episode-esque
Right.
type.
Right.
So
Will be
I don't
interesting.
know. Yeah, like do you think they should have just like focused on like 1 or 2 episodes, like the
I,
pilot and Crimson Sky?
yeah, probably I would have done that and
Yeah.
just put all my eggs on those baskets. The pilot, I think, would have just been there because it's the pilot, but like we said, it's the weakest episode. And
Yeah.
then 9, it gets so much better as the season goes on. And 9 is fantastic. And 10 is also the finale is also fantastic. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this is what Better Call Saul used to do, over submit, because they like Vince Gilligan was just like, everyone deserves a shot, like, everyone submit. So they always over submitted. And it, especially in writing, because writers were basically the only people who watched that show. Like it was fine for them. It only missed
Mhm.
for season 2, but like they used to over submit a lot and they would just still get like 2 nominations in writing, you know?
Right.
So I think Shogun will obviously get into these categories, but I think because it over submitted, the wins might be more up in the air.
Interesting. Should we talk about hacks, Joyce?
Hacks, Christmas.
2 fantastic episodes, Hacks Christmas, and then
Being double booked.
Gene double booked and experiencing campus cancel culture.
Yes.
So Christmas episode, Deborah Christmas Spectacular, J. Smith Cameron showcase, future
This
Emmy
will be your
nominee.
submission.
for hacks. Great episode. We didn't mention Jane Addams in our guest there.
Yeah, she's in this one, and she could definitely get back in
I
too.
really feel like she might. I guess
Yeah.
maybe I would put her in over Maya, I guess, if I was going to add another hacks instead of Sarah, who I don't have in at all for
Yeah,
debate.
I would drop Sarah for Jane.
Very funny episode. Good stuff with the sisters. Learn a lot about like the thing I love about this season of the show is in all aspects, all the conversations, every perspective is given a fair shake, and there's no straw men in any of the scenes.
Yeah, and I feel like you always come out of the conversations not on any one's particular side. It's like you
Yes.
see all of their viewpoints, like the same thing with the Woods episode. You see both Ava and Deborah's sides.
Yes. No one is like villainized easily. And so that's fantastic. And then also in that episode, thus far, the best yet for Jimmy and Kayla, our friend Paul
Oh my
PWB.
God, their B story, just incredible. This is obviously the Fatty Arbuckle movie that
Yes.
we referenced before.
Yes. So
So
what's the stand-up, what's the fake John Mulaney's name on the show?
Jack Danby.
So Jack Danby gets late night, and then Kayla's dad in a bit of like Basil exposition nonsense that on another show I might be like, come on. But on this show, I'm like, I love it because I love this show. It's just like, man, that guy was like wanted to be an actor, and he
You
just
wanted
like
to you wanted to do drama.
just filling her in on all this stuff that she would never know otherwise. It feels like kind of contrived, to be honest, but it's still great because the show's great. And then she uses that to help them figure out to get to the Fatty Arbuckle estate, which is run by Christopher Lloyd as like his great grandson, maybe.
I think it's just grandson.
And Christopher Lloyd's
He's
fantastic.
very
Didn't
old.
mention him. Could easily make it in as well. As could Deidre Hall. What if they just go full hacks?
That would be great. They have
Christopher Lloyd,
Chris and Deirdre have great chemistry too.
so good. And a lot of really funny stuff between Jimmy and Kayla. And Paul is like fantastic in the episode. And it's actually like a great show of like, can I just talk to him? So I'm definitely biased and I want him to get nominated. But
Did
it
you
is
did you move him to first
not
after?
to first. I have him in. It's a great show of why he's so good as Jimmy because like he's reading the script and it's you would in another show that would be like a terrible screenplay and Jimmy would be gassing him up to like get him to do what they want, right? Which is to get the rights to Danby, right? Like and like kind of like sabotage the late night show with this bad movie. But Jimmy is like giving actual feedback and like actually likes it. Like is actually impressed about aspects of it and admits that like it needs work, but like it's pretty good. And I think that's why it's so good. And then he maybe is going to be a producer on this movie. So for season 4,
Well, Christopher Lloyd wants him to be a producer.
yes. And
So
Jimmy's excited about that. So that'll be in next season, maybe.
yeah, I love all his facial reactions when he's reading the script, like in the car and at the dinner table. Just
Oh, good.
incredible.
You don't always see 2 fonts.
Great line reading.
Everyone his line readings is great. When she's like, he probably the guy can't come without a gun in his mouth. He's just like, yikes! It's so good.
Yeah, and like I love that too. Like he actually ended up loving the script because he just thought he was just gonna have to fake his way through this,
Fantastic stuff.
and he was forced to read it. And yeah, I was like, I can't wait for season 4. And
You also get a lot of great backstory, like that'll pay off in the finale, which will not spoil until next week. But of the Jimmy and Kayla, like their life to like their long term like friendship, basically, and like you get like
yeah,
a
and
lot of stuff filling
there
it
are
in.
different approaches to getting shit done.
Yeah, it's quite good. And then we see Kayla a fail on Kayla's part in the next episode, Joyce, which is the yes and where she double books Deborah by I think texting the plumber instead of Marcus or not Marcus, whoever, yeah.
Damien.
Damien. So she double booked. She can't go to Pride in Palm Springs, Deborah. She has to go
For
to
her House of Vans activation.
correct. She has to go to this college campus to get a Berkeley to get like an honorary degree. And she's being tailed by a
A journalist.
Vanity Fair reporter who is expert at taking people down.
Mhm.
Uh,
It's great stuff. I love this like inside baseball stuff and like media inside baseball stuff.
fantastic stuff. And then Deborah is some of her more offensive and not funny, I think, which is most important as well. Beyond also, in addition, at least as important as the offensiveness, is that it's really not funny. Just cruel punching down jokes that she did in the 80s about disenfranchised people resurface on TikTok.
That's what happens. You know, the internet's forever. TikTok is forever.
And so you have a lot of great scenes again where Ava really good stuff from Hannah in this is like her C plot is trying to be young. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was great. And then her trying to fix the situation, and then Deborah ends up doing a town hall for this because they cancel the ceremony.
They cancel the ceremony. First, Deborah and Ava have a great conversation about cancel culture because I think both their perspectives are right. I think Deborah is really given, honestly, like good stuff there to retort with. I was like, good for her. And then they do this town hall. Joyce, I had to ask you about this town hall. Am I supposed to think that the first woman who gets up, I think, is of Indian descent, right? And talks about Deborah's offensive jokes about Muslims after 9/11. And she's doing like a comedy routine. Am I supposed to think that comedy routine is funny?
No.
Okay, good. I was wondering where the show is on that.
Yeah.
Because the crowd of youths certainly think she's slaying, as the kids say.
Well, you know, that's her generation, and they're all here to cancel Deborah. So
Correct. But the interesting thing about it is Deborah. So the whole thing also about not apologizing. I do think the subtlety of that is that like, I think what Ava says is right in that like she wouldn't do those jokes now.
Yeah.
They're just not good jokes. And that's the difference. So she listens, she kind of apologizes, and then the article comes out where it's like, actually, she's definitely problematic, but like she's just a regular person and is willing to listen, right? Like that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's evolved to be willing to listen, and the show ends, Joyce, with her getting late night in a twist.
Yeah. And so that tees up the finale, but then also she misses because of all this drama at Berkeley. She misses the House of Anne's activation, and Marcus is pissed.
Incredibly pissed.
Yeah.
And
He goes on a bender.
Re-engage, probably absolutely the best Marcus episode of the season.
This
Best stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and best stuff for Carl Clemens Hopkins. Both the funniest and then also like really good. I talked to him too, scheduling wise, should have done it maybe this week, but we talked last week and I kind of like had to talk to him about this without talking about it. But he has the great scene at the bar with Tim Blakely as the guest star, where they talk about like Deborah's fame and how she's always actually been there for like LGBTQ community, but like they have to like let her go as she gets more popular, basically, that kind of thing.
I love that conversation because I think everyone can relate to that with anything like they've been a fan of. You know, it's like you discover them first and then you hate it when they get mainstream.
Correct.
And everyone has a piece of them.
Yeah. And then Marcus takes that conversation and calls re-engage with the QVC, which we saw set up in the Woods episode.
Yeah.
And so now we're into the finale, Joyce. And as if I hadn't seen it, I'd be like, wow, what are they going to do? Because a lot of the stuff is tying up here. So that's why you know the finale is great when they tie up so many aspects of the show.
They tie up so many stuff, and there's also open threads for season 4.
Yeah. So I can't wait to talk about the finale next week. But I think PWD could submit this episode, the Christmas episode, or the finale.
I said this to you last week. When did I say it to you? Was it offline or somewhere? Because I was like, he has so many options for tapes.
He sure does.
Like he could also do the finale.
Yes.
So, yeah. But he needs to get in first.
He has to get in. That's the big thing. My computer is freezing up, Joyce. There you are. We could do emails now. How about that?
Sure.
You can email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. We have so many emails this week, Joyce, including another game from Michael. I'm going to start with this one from our good friend Nate Dog.
Nate Dog?
I don't know.
You're alive?
I don't know. Maybe. Dear Joyce and Chris, longtime listener, first-time writer here. No kidding. Now that Shōgun has officially been classified as a drama series, I was wondering about your broader view of book adaptations as limited series versus drama series. My personal view is that a program that is a complete adaptation of a book should be considered a limited series, with any continuation of that story, particularly with the book's characters, considered a drama series. To me, this would place the first seasons of Shōgun, Nine Perfect Strangers, The Handmaid's Tale, and Big Little Lies all in limited series, and then the follow-up seasons in drama series. Does that make sense to you? It already seems to be happening with the upcoming follow-up seasons of The Night Manager and The Last Thing He Told Me, and even could happen with something like Apples Never Fall. Is it primarily the closeness of the timing of these follow-up seasons to the original story adaptations that seems to make the difference in classification? Always appreciate your analysis. That's from Nate Dogg. P.S. Let's go Mets.
Oh, if only.
What do you think, Joyce?
Uh, I I think it comes down to the intention from the start.
Okay. So you're not
So
in favor of like a hard and fast rule that book adaptations are a limited series. That's
no,
what I
but
think
I
you're
think
going for.
I understand that logic because I think it obviously makes sense if you're just adapting one book, you just be like, you finish adapting the book, so the show is over. It's a limited series, right? So, but I do think a lot of creatives go into adaptations like wanting it to be an ongoing series.
Right.
And there are cases where they go into it just making a limited series, but then it becomes a hit. So then, like Big Little Lies, I think that was absolutely intended to be a one and done limited series, but then became so popular, and then fans were begging for more, and then the actresses, literally the only person who didn't want to do more was Jean-Marc Vallée.
Yes.
So, and so then they just all regrouped to make another season. So I think there are cases of that, but I think sometimes creatives do, um, want slash hope for the show to continue. And I don't even know like if that is something that you can police, like what, like, do you have to file documents? Like,
Yeah,
like
it
even
seems.
pre-production showing like what you want to do? Like, I
I,
don't know.
I think the only thing to police is just like if it's a book, it's a limited series, no matter what. And then next subsequent seasons would go to drama and just make it like a hard and fast rule, no matter what.
Which is, what we already have. It's like if you're gonna continue with the same characters and the same storyline, then you gotta go in drama.
Right.
So, um, it's it's just like annoying because a lot because of like, like when they announce stuff like renewals and everything that you just don't know. So then when like the Emmys come around, it's like submission deadlines and stuff. So it's like they can still stay in limited for now, you
I
know.
I think the issue, another, not an issue, but a thing with this year is that everyone wanted Shogun to move, so nobody's actually going to be mad that it moved. But if there was a more popular, if there was another popular show in drama that everybody was like obsessed with, and then Shogun did this and it was less popular, people would be furious.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
like
Um, and yeah, because they wanted someone like a stronger show in drama.
right.
So
People
it's like
wanted this to happen. If
people
they didn't want
like,
it to happen, to be like mad.
yeah.
Uh, Here's an email, Joyce, from our old pal David L.
Oh, great. How long is this one?
Not that long, and actually, it ends with like a
Wow.
twist. I'm gonna read it to
Ooh.
you. Hi, Joyce and Chris. David L. here again. Super glad for Bradley Cooper having no shame and going all out by submitting himself as a guest for Abbott Elementary, even though it felt like a cameo. I really hope the internet doesn't keep trolling him and make fun of him for it. The episode is 20 minutes and 31 seconds long, or 1,231 seconds. So to be eligible, Bradley must appear in 5% of the episode's runtime, or 61 and a half seconds. And he appears in 1 minute and 56 seconds, or 116 seconds, nearly double the minimum requirement. Do you guys think they changed this rule and the screen time eligibility should be increased to 10% of the episode's running time? Because by that logic, Kevin Hart could also qualify for appearing in a minute-long cameo at the end of an episode of Abbott Elementary via FaceTime. Also, Chris, why don't you like to watch plays? I get why you don't like to read, and because it takes time, but come on, you make it seem like listening to actors talk on stage is mental torture. I promise you it's not. I just saw eldest boy Jeremy Strong on Broadway in Enemy of the People, and he was phenomenal. Really hope he wins a well-deserved Tony Award next month. Anyway, I'm sorry for being overbearing in my past emails. You don't have to interpret every email as a threat. I love you guys, and I always laugh every week at your banter on stuff going on in the media. Keep it real. That's from David L. Look at that,
Wow,
Joyce.
that was a twist ending.
I
This is the
know.
biggest twist since Rachel accusing us of hating Austin Butler.
I know.
Wow.
Thank you, David. Wow, that was so nice.
Do you want to address
I
the
don't
play
hate plays. I just
first?
like musicals better. That's all. It's just
It's
more
a
fun.
it's a waffle pancakes.
Yeah, I just like musicals. They're singing and dancing. It's just more engaging. Plays sometimes you're just droning out. And I like and actors are great. I love actors, but I'm more of like the reason I love film and TV is it's like a more visual. There's more than just
You
the
like cinema.
I'm like me and Marty, cinema. And then I love Bradley submitting for Abbott. He's also fucking hilarious on that episode. I don't have him in.
I will just say when this news broke that he was eligible because he made the 5% threshold. And a lot of people there was some dunking on him on Twitter. It was like, of course, like he's so thirsty for an award, he would submit for this cameo, right? I just want to say that a lot of the times the actors have no say in this. Like they don't give a shit at all. It's just their teams, it's the network, the studio making these decisions. So it could just be his personal rep doing this. It could be ABC doing this. Like they timed it out to make sure they could, submit him by May 9th, the deadline. And he has no idea what's going on because
Yeah, I don't think Bradley Cooper's out there being
I
like,
don't
I
think he
must be
cares.
submitting
Yeah.
for an Emmy.
And
Neither one of us mentioned him or any of the Abbott guest stars, but they're all pretty good this season.
I love Tatiana Ali.
Tatiana Lee was great.
The park like relay thing
Mm-hmm.
was great. Yeah.
Josh Segura, I think, is really fun.
Yeah.
And Bradley is hilarious. I love his cameo. I didn't put him in, but I mean, he's very,
yeah,
very
I didn't put him in
funny.
either. And I'll also say, many years ago, I was very disappointed that The Grinder, one of my favorite one season shows on Fox, did not submit Timothy Oliphant for guest actor because he played himself on the show and he was fantastic. And I tweeted about this. I was like, I can't how is he not on this ballot? And an assistant of his publicist who I'd worked with before, and like we follow each other, she replied to me and she was like, that was my bad, I forgot to submit him. So it's like, this is the background stuff I want people to know. Like
Right.
actors do not care about this
No,
stuff.
they
A
don't know
lot of
what's
actors
going on.
don't. Some
They have no
actors
idea.
do, but most don't.
Right.
They have no idea.
From one David L to David R, Joyce, aka Grammar David, who emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Two things. You may recall I speculated recently that David L was a burner account for Rex Reed. I was wrong. It's actually Fiona Harvey. Just kidding. Love you,
Oh,
David L.
wow.
And number
Is
two.
David L gonna be on Piers Morgan soon?
And number two. Just kidding. That was a just kidding. And number two, I know it's akin to heresy to criticize hacks, but in episode 1 or 2 of season 3, Jimmy says he can get Deborah on The Chew. The show is canceled in 2018. What is happening? Love you. That's from David R, aka Grammar David. Joyce, what do you think?
Maybe in the hacks verse, it's still on.
Do you think they were thinking of The Talk and they just said The Chew?
Potentially. The
I think
Talk
so.
canceled this year too.
Also canceled this year, but when they were filming, it was still existing. I'm going to
Yeah.
give the benefit of the doubt and say they were thinking of The Talk,
I think they're more focused on Deborah's beef with Joy Behar.
which is great.
Yeah.
Let me see. This one is from Andre, who usually emails about movies, but is here for the TV takes, Joyce. Hi, Chris and Joyce. It's Andre again. My email today is about Elsbeth. Recently, Chris put Carrie Preston, former winner for the role, in his predictions, and I think it's a smart move. Hope she's still there, Chris. Bad news, Andre. She's gone. Sorry to that woman. But no, she's gone. Anyway, the show has been doing well, topping the charts, and is a network success. It's very easy to watch procedural case of the week. Have you watched it yet? Think of it like a lesser prestige and more superficial version of Poker Face. In a year where big drama contenders are out, I can see an enjoyable and very watchable show like Elsbeth making its way in the race over more niche contenders like The Curse. Thanks for reading and have a great week. That's from Andre. What do you think, Joyce? We didn't mention Elsbeth as a serious contender, but I honestly would not be surprised.
I don't know if I would put it in series, but I could see her getting in. Like, obviously she's won before.
Maybe I should put her in over Carrie Coon and keep Reese out.
Switch carries.
I might do that.
Okay.
I'm going to do that now. Andre, I'm very basically
Carrie Preston is her new Jonathan Bailey.
Basically, people, if you want me to do, just lightly push back on anything, and I'll say okay, sure.
And hey, now you have Michael Emerson and Carrie Preston.
Yes.
So that'll be great.
My computer is slowing down, so I'm going to do this later. I promise I will. Let's see. Next up, we have. Let's do Max, I guess, Joyce. Max, another emailer who was emailed before. Let's look at goldderby.com. My question, Joyce and Chris, my question today is about Emmy predictions from the other sites and outlets. I've been going through some of the past week and have been struck by how out of touch they seem with both Emmy history and, as Chris likes to say, the general vibes. no shade, but take this site. I'm actually not going to mention it, but they have Shogun in fourth place for drama series, despite him being the perceived frontrunner, according to most other sites. They also have, wait for it, The Great Lillian Hall getting nominations across the board, including for Pierce Brosnan, an actor, Kathy Bates in supporting actress, despite T movies generally faring pretty poorly in non-program categories and having it the worst possible release date, May 31st. What are your thoughts on these predictions? And sorry, but why do you think people are so bad at Emmying, to use a parlance of Joyce? I hope you guys have a nice week. That's from Max.
Wow. Um, I don't know what this site Max is referring
I'll give
to.
you a hint. It's
Um,
Rewards Roch.
oh, okay. Um, so it's just spamming Great Lillian Hall, huh?
Uh, we watched that, Joyce, together on
We
text.
did. We can't talk about it yet because it's actually embargoed.
Oh,
But
okay.
we can talk about it next week
I
before
guess
it
we could say we've
premieres.
seen it. But neither one of us went ham on it in our predictions.
No, and for many of the reasons that Max said.
I think that, yeah, I think it's just no matter the quality of the show or film, no matter the quality of the film, I think it's hard to break into the program categories against programs for a
I mean, you've
movie.
experienced this with reality, your fave.
I had to be shown reality, Joyce, with
By
reality.
reality.
I had to be shown reality by reality. They're not putting in Sydney Sweeney, despite that being one of her best performances.
Yeah, and I think these predictions are happening because of the people and names involved. So then people have a reflex to be like, oh man, this HBO film with Jessica Lange is entering the chat. It's gonna get in. She's gonna get in. It has Kathy Bates and Pierce
I,
Brosnan.
you've always known this, and I have learned this, is that just because somebody famous is in a TV show has no bearing on them getting into it. Like a movie star is not going to just get in to Emmys because they're a movie star.
No, they have to watch it and like it.
Yeah, so it's not going to just be a name check that Jessica Lange gets in, or Julia Roberts for Gaslit, or Harrison Ford for Shrinking, or whatever down the line.
Yeah.
Uh, that's not how it works.
Yeah, and like Max said, like, TV movies have not fared well in the past decade. Obviously Daniel Radcliffe got in last year for Weird. But I think that's also, a different type of film, and that was way earlier, right? That was in late 2022 when
Yeah,
it was released. So it wasn't May 31st.
no. Uh, our friend Michael is back to us with another game,
Oh,
backed
good.
by popular demand at slugfest@goldderby.com. Email us games, and we'll do them. Hi, Joyce and Chris, Game Master and Pan Am's #1 fan, Mike here. First of all, thanks again for playing the game last week, and once again, great choices all around. Before we play a new game, let me just say this. Sony Pictures Television, Jack Orman, and Margot Robbie's Lucky Chap Entertainment, please make Pan Am Season 2. Sell it to Apple. I'm sure they will give you a gazillion dollars to make it.
Oh my
LOL.
God, imagine how that would look on Apple.
Be so good.
Well, yeah.
Anyways, time to play another game. For this one, it will be extension of the game last week. It's still the same mechanics. I will name a broadcast network show that was canceled for one season, and you two will name which streaming service it would be airing on if it existed today. This time around, the shows are from 2012 to 2014, and I hope you remember them, especially you, Joyce. Wow.
I probably will.
Are you ready? Here we go. There's 20 shows, so this is
Oh
going to
my
be,
God.
we'll do them quick, because last time we spent a lot of time doing it. Okay, #1 is Last Resort, the ABC military
Oh my
drama
God, Last Resort. Sean
starring the
Ryan.
great Andre Brower.
I can see that on Amazon.
Feels like an Amazon dad show.
Yeah, very
Big
bad.
time.
Hmm.
Alternate would be Paramount Plus, frankly, even though it's ABC. I know it
Yeah,
doesn't.
but I think it's like a little too like hip
Yeah.
for P plus.
Uh, this one I know you know. 0 Hour, the
Oh,
ABC drama starring
I talked to Anthony
Anthony
Edwards for
Edwards.
this. Literally interviewed him for 0 Hour. Oh my God. Actually, I could see that on Apple.
Would be a good Apple
And
one.
like it just gets lost.
Bad Monkey.
Apple. So, uh,
Okay. Golden Boy, the CBS drama starring the Gentleman's Theo James.
I talked to Theo at the CBS holiday party about this. The publicist pulled me over while I was eating my pigs in a blanket and was like,
Wow.
talk to Theo. And he was towering over me in the corner by the bar. Um, uh, uh, I could see that on Amazon too.
Also Amazon.
Yeah.
I don't actually remember the show at all. This is one of the first ones we've done that I don't have any
Oh,
recollection.
really? You don't remember? It
No.
was on CBS.
Yeah.
And
What
it
was the
was
premise?
um he's a cop, so it's procedural.
Okay.
So he's just like a young cop.
Young cop.
That's
Amazon
it.
sounds right. Yeah.
That hence the title Golden Boy.
Got it.
Yeah.
Next, Vegas, the CBS drama starring Dennis Quaid and Michael Chiklis.
Uh uh I'll say P plus
Me too.
because it was on CBS.
Yeah. And it feels P plusy.
Yeah, it feels very like Dennis and Chickless, you know.
Emily Owens, MD, the CW show starring Mamie Gummer and Tracker's Justin Hartley.
I watched that show. Um hmm. I get Netflix. I think it could be on Netflix.
Full Netflix for that one.
Yeah.
Ben and Kate, the Fox sitcom starring Madam Webs, Dakota Johnson, and Lutz and Nat Faxon. Great show.
That was very cute.
Love the show.
Also canceled prematurely.
Definitely.
Ben and Kate. It's so cute.
Yeah.
What's a cute streaming service? Is it like Peacock?
I was going to say Peacock or Apple. It could fit on Apple.
I think
Pretty
it's a little too cute for Apple.
interesting. Lutz pretty cute. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll
Peacock.
say Peacock.
Okay. 1600 Penn, the NBC sitcom starring Josh Gad and Bill Pullman in his second POTUS term.
Um, that I'll also say Peacock for that.
I was going to say Max for this one.
Hmm.
Feels Maxy.
A little, but I don't know. I guess like maybe because it was on NBC.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of
Yeah.
like Peacock.
Do No Harm, the NBC medical drama that has Lin-Manuel Miranda in the cast.
My one of my old coworkers covered the show and did a lot of interviews for it. This was an MEC show, but it felt CBS. I'm gonna say P plus.
Okay. That's pretty good. I'll stick with that too. Go On, the NBC sitcom starring the late great Matthew Perry.
Yeah, I talked to him for that.
Aw.
Yeah. Um, hmm. I can see it on Max.
Feels like a Max with the
It feels like it's
big
sort of
smart term.
like Hacks, but not really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The New Normal, the Ryan Murphy NBC sitcom.
Hmm. Would it be weird to just say Netflix because of his Netflix deal?
I went right to Netflix too. It just feels so
Yeah.
Netflix. It's the
Yeah.
kind of high concept thing that Netflix would do.
Hmm.
Super Fun Night, the ABC sitcom starring Rebel Wilson.
Oh my God, I remember that. I it feels like Apple because they like to invest in names.
It's like the Chris O'Dowd show.
Yeah. The Big Door Prize.
That's it. I couldn't even think of what it was called. Trophy Wife, the ABC sitcom starring
Oh,
Marilyn
I
Alford and
love
Bradley
Trophy
Whitford.
Wife. It was
Great.
sad. There were so many ABC. I did a story one time about like terrible show titles, and most of them were ABC. Just like Trophy Wife, Cougar Town, you know. Trophy Wife. It's like I was like Hulu.
That's a good one.
We haven't said Hulu.
No, that's a good one though.
Yeah.
The Crazy Ones, the CBS sitcom starring late great Robin Williams and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I went to a set visit for that, and
Mhm.
Robin Williams was hilarious.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I can also see this on Apple, just because again, like big names.
Big names.
Yeah.
Hostages, the CBS drama starring Toni Collette, Dylan McDermott, Tate Donovan, and Under the Bridge showrunner Quinn Shepard.
Maybe Amazon again.
Feels Amazon-y.
Yeah.
Star-crossed the CBS drama, and guess what? The show was set in 2024. LOL.
I remember this. It was CW.
Yes. Did I say not C? Did I not say CW? It's CW.
Uh, uh, I could see that Netflix.
Netflix felt so obvious for this
Yeah.
one. Almost Human, the sci-fi Fox drama starring The Boys' Carl Urban.
Hmm. Uh, Amazon
I
too?
thought Amazon or Hulu.
Yeah, it could be. It could be a little Hulu.
We have 4 left. Enlisted, the Fox military sitcom.
I like that one.
It's pretty good.
I can see that on Peacock too.
Definitely. Believe, the NBC drama co-created by Oscar winner Alfonso Cuarón.
The little girl was adorable in the
I'm going
show.
right to Apple for this one, not just because they have another Alfonso
Yeah,
Cuarón show coming soon that they're high
this could
on.
definitely be Apple
It would be Apple, I
for
think.
sure.
Crisis, the NBC show starring Dermot Mulroney and Gillian Anderson.
Um, I'll say Hulu for this
Okay.
one.
And then finally, Crossbones, the NBC
Oh my
pirate show starring John Malkovich.
I can see that on Amazon.
Wow, I was going to say Netflix.
Or yeah, I know. I was like Amazon or Netflix
I
because
feel like
it's like
Netflix would do a pirate show.
yeah, but it also feels like right at home with like dad content on
Yeah,
Amazon. You know what I mean?
Pirate Bosch or
Yeah,
whatever.
I feel like Netflix is really good at like teen focused
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
That is all. I hope this was fun again. LOL. I already have an idea for the game next week, and it's not going to be like this again.
Oh my
Thanks, guys,
God.
and have a great day. Michael, we look forward to that email at slugfest@goldderby.com. We have a few more, Joyce. I'm going to read this one because Shanna was very nice to email. Hi, I'm a longtime listener and a fan of you both, a first-time emailer and a big little monster. I have 2 questions. What did you both think of the Joker Folie à Deux trailer? Do you think our Lord and Savior Lady Gaga can win Best Actress at the Oscars? And number 2, the HBO original Gaga Chromatica Ball is premiering on Max on May 25th. What do you think of Gaga's Emmys chances in Outstanding Variety Special pre-recorded, directing for a Variety Special, musical direction, editing for Variety Programming, and writing for a Variety Special? Her first HBO special won for editing, which she wasn't credited, and she's been nominated 4 times before. I really hope she can become one step closer to the EGOT, and the rumors are true that A Star is Born is coming to Broadway and that she will be involved. Thank you so much. I love tuning into you both each week. That's from Shanna.
Do you have her winning the Oscar
I don't yet. I have Mikey Madison winning the Oscar right now because I cannot fucking
after
wait for
yesterday?
I cannot fucking wait for Nora. It's gonna like already know it's gonna be my favorite movie. I absolutely love her in Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And
Okay,
so
rude to better things.
not I did not come in from Better Things. I came in from Scream and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know she's
This
the
is this is what like this is what's gonna happen. She's gonna have this like huge campaign,
cannot
obviously, in the
wait.
fall, and no one is gonna mention better
No, they
things.
were already mentioning Better Things. They
Yeah,
already
but just as like a credit, not to like actually talk about.
No, I've seen people talking about it already. I cannot wait. So I have her winning. I don't know if Lady Gaga win. I thought the trailer was totally fine. I don't.
Yeah.
I thought the first Joker was pretty good. I didn't hate it at all. I actually liked it, but I just never wanted to watch it again. And I feel like this one, similarly, I'm just like, I'm excited to see Lady Gaga, and I'm less excited to see Joaquin doing this all over again. I think the novelty is worn off for me a little on the Joaquin aspect of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like neither here nor there with the first one. I also didn't hate it, but I
I
also didn't love it. So
I think we did we both have her in or not for I can't my computer
I had her
quits it.
in our early picks.
I
I
think
don't know
I
if
did too. I think I did too. So I still think she'll get in. And it would be
yeah.
great. Wouldn't it be fun for her to win? I mean, she could definitely win some of these categories, the Emmys for Chromatica.
Yeah, I think the concert, I mean, I haven't watched it. They sent the
Not
screen.
yet.
I haven't watched it. I think yeah, obviously I'll get in for variety special, but that'll be a tough category. Um, and yeah, like some of the other ones, yeah, sure. Like I don't see why it can't win crafts, you know?
Uh, and just a few more emails, Joyce. We'll go back to Can for this first one. It's from Carissa. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Demi Moore is getting buzz for her new movie out of Cannes. Uh, Feud is not a serious competitor at the Emmys, But how many people are going to think this movie will help her score a nomination? And why would it? The movie's The Substance, Joyce, I believe.
Yeah, and it got, what was it, like a 13-minute standing O?
Who knows? I can't even keep track.
Who
Even
is who is keeping track of these? Because I've seen wildly different numbers
I don't.
for like one movie.
A lot of variations this year more than usual.
Yeah, it's like,
Right.
is it 6? Is it 7? Is it 8?
I
Who
will
knows?
say this: The Substance sounds like a movie I will absolutely, if I ever did see it, absolutely fucking hate. I just hate body horror, and it just sounds like a miserable time. When people are like, "The gore is so crazy," the sound made people throw up. I'm just like, life is too short for this.
Well, you also don't like that stuff. You're a scaredy cat.
No, I'm not watching that. So already, I'm just telling you right now, like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I
have a
mean,
lot of opinions on this.
it got great a great response, but it's also polarizing.
It
So
got a great response, and I noticed a great response from men, and a lot of women who saw it were like, "This is just trash."
yes, that is the
And
polarization.
so I look forward to seeing how that plays out throughout the year. And I don't know if Demi Moore will be a serious contender for any kind of Oscar, and nor Emmy contender, Joyce.
No, I mean, I never had her in for Feud. But hilariously enough, there is an upcoming FYC event for Feud
Uh-huh.
next week, and they
Yes.
sent the invite yesterday. And it was like, including it's gonna be moderated by Ryan Murphy, and they included, the attendees. So it's like, Naomi, Tom, like, whoever. And then Demi is listed, and her name was Asterisk. It was like, subject to change.
Interesting.
She
Gotta
needs
make
to
sure
she
she's
needs to fly
back.
back.
Gotta make back from can.
Yeah.
Uh love Demi Moore though. Big fan of Demi Moore. Always been. She's a great actor.
Love, what would her renaissance be called? The Demisance?
It's right there. Just right. It's just right there for us. Thanks, Chris, for the email. This one is from our old friend Judgmental TV fan, Joyce. Back
I love
again.
Judgmental TV fan.
Hi, Joyce and Chris. I'm back again. John Landgraf is one of the best in the business, and I think what he's done at FX during his tenure is brilliant. But I recall he took issue with True Detective being submitted as a drama series. This is a Deadline interview from 2014. Judgmental TV man having the receipts, as the kids say.
John Landgraf did a lot of interviews back then about
And
this.
and now Shogun has been, quote, renewed and is competing in drama, even though the story has reached its end. And whatever comes next can't really be Shogun. Things have changed a lot in the last decade. And I know he's also said it's an imperfect system, but I guess I feel a bit disappointed that this is where we've ended up. Does this feel hypocritical to you? It's from Judgmental TV fan.
Uh,
You're the Landgraf whisperer, Joyce. So what do you
I know.
think?
I love Landgraf, and it is like very funny when it was like pretty obvious that Shogun was coming back, because I did think about his True Detective comments from 10 years ago. Um, and because at the time he was a shilling for the Americans.
Sure.
You Um, from a business standpoint, I understand why they want to continue the business of Shogun,
Right.
right?
We've talked about
And
it. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
yeah, and they don't have like a stable ongoing drama series,
Right.
right?
Correct.
So I think it all makes sense, and I don't know if I would call it hypocritical, because I don't think it's like the same thing necessarily. Um, like I think it is like goofy, to like have the receipts from 10 years ago. But with True Detective, it was like everyone knew it was always going to be an anthology series, and HBO just wanted to go in drama, because that was like, perceived to be like the bigger and better award, because this is also back when
Hmm.
the limited category was still called miniseries,
Right. It's
I
not,
think
nobody wants to be in a mini series. They want to be in a
yeah.
limited.
And like that year they had just split up the categories again, because it was for a couple years it was outstanding miniseries slash TV movie, and then they split it up to TV movie and miniseries again.
Right.
So yeah, and then obviously like True Detective had to go limited for future seasons. So I don't think it's the same situation.
No.
But I guess, I share Judgmental TV fans' disappointment in the quote renewal of Shogun, which will be a completely different show and not the Shogun you watched and loved.
No, we've talked about this, and I agree with that too. And I also will hold my breath. I actually no, excuse me. I won't hold my breath for the show to be on anytime soon.
Yeah, I was thinking about this last week. Did I say this to you or like someone else? But I was like, what if it's just like Bodyguard? Like they constantly talk about a second season and it never happens.
This one took 4 years to make, at least. I mean, obviously
I
over a
mean, it's
pandemic.
like definitely been in development for like close to a decade.
So they go back and, I mean, best case scenario, they're in production next winter, and I would be like shocked if they're able to mount it that fast.
Yeah. And
So,
like it'll be great for them to get, these wins this year. So at least we know, we'll have a new drama series winner next year because it
I
won't
mean,
be back in
it would have
time.
gotten the wins anyway, probably. Certainly series or limited series or
Yeah,
drama
but like in
series.
drama
Yeah.
series.
I mean,
Yeah,
it'll be
because
nice for FX.
FX has won limited before.
Yeah, it'll be FX drama and comedy winners. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so um yeah, it'll take a while, I think, for a second season to come to fruition, and what if this is also, I don't think it is, but it could just be like, Hawkeye submitting in comedy series and Falcon and Winter Soldier submitting in drama, and those shows are probably not coming back.
No. Gonna guess no.
So
Last one, Joyce, and we'll get out of here. This one is from Salome. Email to slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Chris and Roland just moderated an FYC event for Fallout. Is this A, brilliant campaigning, B, sort of manipulative, or C, both?
this happened literally last night, Tuesday
Yes,
night.
this came in this morning.
Yes. It was just him and his baby brother, Jonah.
I wouldn't see both.
Yeah. And as we know, Chris this winter moderated a curse panel
Yes.
too, because of Benny.
Yes.
So he's done the curse and now Fallout for obvious reasons. What will he moderate next?
What do you think he's watching?
I don't know. People need to find out what he's watching. Everyone keeps asking him about what movies he watches. People need to find out what shows he watches.
I could see him being like a hacks guy, comedy guy.
Yeah. I would honestly, I would hope so.
He's funnier than people think.
Yeah. Um, do you think he has seen all of Fallout or just Jonah's episodes?
Good question. I think he's seen Jonah's episodes,
Mhm.
and he's probably like, I'm going to finish it. I promise.
So like Jude Law with Ripley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he would like Fallout. It's a good show. I think
Yeah.
I think he'd enjoy it. Do you
This is
think
a
Fallout's better than Westworld?
I think he probably likes Fallout more than Westworld. I
Yeah.
could see like Westworld, in the later seasons, not even that much later because it was only 4 seasons, but like just getting overly convoluted.
3 and 4 were
Even like so overly convoluted for Christopher Nolan,
3 and 4 were not good.
Yeah.
2 was good. 1 was good.
Mhm.
All right, Joyce. That's it. So we'll be back next week with more, I guess, another game from Michael. Talk
Yeah,
about Lillian
and then
Hall.
the
Hacks
Hacks
finale.
finale.
The last of this is it, like the end. This
It's
is
the
the
end
end.
of eligibility. Remember last year, that final week, we just had every show ending? It was
Yeah, it
Succession, Barry, Ted,
was a lot of
Maisel.
fun.
Yeah.
So we only got half. I
Oh,
can't
we
wait
could
to talk
talk
about it.
about Eric next week.
Oh, sure. You
Yeah.
could talk about it. I can't wait. Let's talk to you then, Joyce. Bye.